Sergeant Collier's face bore the scars of self-inflicted violence when he appeared in domestic violence court.
She still loved me.
But hours after a judge dismissed his girlfriend's stalking complaint, he was back at work. The same thing happened after Sergeant Housie Bauer's ex-girlfriend accused him of sending menacing texts, threatening her with beatings, even rape. A judge dismissed her complaint too, and until his voluntary retirement 3 months later, Bowers remained on the job. The same is true for dozens of officers. Some faced criminal charges or were briefly suspended. Others faced violence allegations in court that were later dropped. But allegations alone don't trigger disciplinary action, and JSO's policy is forgiving of incidents that occur more than 5 years apart. In 2017, Sergeant David Oliver's ex-girlfriend accused him in court documents of stalking and threatening to show coworkers their sex videos. The first court appearance was rescheduled when the judge recognized Oliver and declared a conflict. His ex-girlfriend later dropped the case, and the records were scrubbed from the county's website. But a second case is still available. According to court records, in 2008, Oliver's ex-wife accused him of threatening her life and pointing a gun at their daughter. She too dropped her request for an injunction. Oliver remained on duty until April, when he quit.
There's a lot of challenges to cases which involve situations where there is emotional feelings involvement, because you really have to sort through the facts.
Pat Ivey is the final arbiter of punishment at JSO.
If it does involve anything, a suspension, demotion, or termination, then that culminates at my desk.
Speaking in 2016, he noted that JSO officers face enormous stress that can affect their conduct.
But you got to remember, policemen are people too. People that all day long, every day, do nothing but deal with other people's problems on top of their own. That's just reality.
Some officers continue to serve to this day, which is exactly the case with Officer Fred Bible.
There was yelling, screaming, a lot of profanities.
In this recorded interview with police investigators, Bible admitted to attacking his wife and a man he thought was her boyfriend.
She said that you spit on her. You called her a slut and a whore. You kicked the side of her vehicle, which caused a dent.
I think I kicked it twice. Kicked it really good. Put a big dent inside of it.
According to police reports and court records, Officer Fred Bible, while on duty and in uniform, sliced up his wife's underwear and kicked in her car door. He stalked a man he thought was her boyfriend using JSO's database. He spray painted the word whore on her car and her garage. He urinated in her shoes. Police records show Bible admitted all of it except the underwear and shoes. Bible conceded he'd messed up and expressed regret. He even acknowledged that things could have gotten even worse. At one point, the man who was with his wife startled Officer Bible.
Been a policeman a long time, so when I get startled, I immediately pulled my gun. I don't know how I didn't shoot somebody. Only by the grace of God did I not hurt or kill someone that night.
But he's still a cop. He's still on patrol. And according to Ivey, his duties still include handling domestic violence investigations. Domestic conflict can exist on a spectrum. And in the interest of transparency for this story, it's important to note that Pat Ivey himself has had some degree of domestic conflict. Though not on the scale of the other incidents covered in this story, the incident was reported to police. A computer-aided dispatch report from August 2014 shows his adult son, a corrections officer with JSO, called 911 at 2 in the morning to report his parents were fighting. On the report, the call is coded Signal 22 domestic violence. There are no allegations of violence on the dispatch report, and no police report was ever written. Ivey declined our interview request in early May, but late last week, when notified the story was set to air, Ivey called and spoke at length. He would not say what prompted his son to call 911. He called it a private matter and said he objected to being lumped in with officers who were actually violent. Ivey noted the fact that the Signal 22 is coded as domestic violence is a computer error. A 22 is a domestic, he said. A 2288 is a domestic with violence. Ivey noted in his case, quote, "There is truly no threat, no violence. It's merely an argument with me and my wife." He added, "Make sure this quote gets in there. I tried to stop you from making what I know is a mistake."